Welcome back to The Unpopular Opinion, Becoming Popular. My name is Yana the Heretic, and we are going to be talking about the current hexagram chop. It is the last gate under the archetype of Prometheus that we have been exploring this December in Saggitarius season. This gate I consider to be extremely Sag. So if you were to bottle the essence of a Sagittarius, this was what gate 11 really is about. Sagittarius is mutable fire. Fire. So they are extremely passionate people. They are wide and expansive in their ability to communicate and to formalize ideas, to keep people stimulated. It is linked to the planet of Jupiter, and Jupiter is our biggest, most gigantic, gaseous, celestial body that we have. So it is being able to take all of this air and this fire and to spark people with it. So they have that capability. This is the capability of gate 11. It is the gate of ideas. This keynote is peace. That is what's possible. That is what they're reaching for. That is what they're trying to alleviate in their own system, because these people are always attempting to figure out why their past, has affected them so deeply. And a lot of the time, this gets bogged down. It's not what the main goal of Gate 11 is. You find that it is much better for these types of people to express their ideas amongst others, like an audience, but they're not really meant to tether their entire focus to this. So one of Ra's quotes that I find to be my favorite is, "Ideas are not a prescription for action. They're a stimulation for reflection." So these people will always associate their ideals to changing, what was uncomfortable for them growing up. They try and try again to make a better world, so like the future of people isn't going to be lost. So they figure, if any type of loss happened to them in their life, any type of really hard, rigid lessons, they're trying to attempt to guide people with the new stuff that is going to provide them a life of peace, or so they think, right? These are the type of people that can describe the ineffable, and people around them will go, "Whoa, like that was extremely powerful. Like, what? Like, we've been trying to figure out a solution to this concept for years, and you just flat out told us." So these are the traits of a Gate 11. Since this is linked to belief, this belief is more so on the spectrum of making the fantasy come in, or the imagination. It's not so much a fact. It isn't something that's supposed to be a part of reality. It is something that could be a part of reality, but it's not up to them to actually do anything about it. It's more so that they're, inspiring those people in that group, and they carry the torch, the passion, to the other next group down the road, and share some of their information that they're gathering from the ether. They're gathering from the collective, and things that they have chewed and digested. Goes through a wave, honestly, because our since this is still the left eye and a left part of our brain is about logic and understanding, speaking, writing, those are the traits of the left eye. It's the ability to really know that beliefs are everything, you know. It is what formulates the passion and the drive. So we're seeing this in the ajna, and that's our pattern recognition center. So that is why it's so deeply linked to memory. And we want to make sure that it doesn't get too dogmatic. You know, of course, that is okay. Like, I don't have any issues with people's beliefs, but as long as these types of people don't try to solve things obsessively and create their own cult, like typically the downside is somebody faith shopping around, you know, they are not satisfied with one thing or another. And that happens to many of us, right? Like, maybe we won't be super serious, you know, we know that we wake up to, you know, there's all types of belief. We wake up to tend to our garden. We believe in growing plants. We can, you know, wake up to walk our dog, you know, like it just depends, you know, what your belief is, what gets you out of bed to be driven and passionate, to see the end, see these projects to the end, or see yourself transform in its fullest state. But if they're trying to solve the things that happened in their past, that's typically when it turns dark, because there's certain psychological processes that have to be let go of. It is impossible for them to forget about the past, but as long as they keep striving forward, they won't become like the cult leaders, the false prophets that, you know, try to pretend that they know the road to Eden, and they'll do anything to entice you or believe in your thing, you know, your gig, like this is for sure it, you know, and it's really driving you to do something crazy. Or it ends up getting to that place. I mean, that happens with any type of belief system typically, because we're all hoping to have all the answers, but it's not always fathomable. So as long as they light the torch for other people, they could be like the head of like a project as well. You know, they're like, hey, like, I want to like be the one that, you know, invests in this project. Like, I make the last like form of approval here, but, you know, sometimes it doesn't even matter, you know, you don't even have to be part of that project. You dropped your seeds. You're like, you know, the flower girl that, you know, throws petals on the grounds of thought. You know, you just help people like really see the wide picture. And it is beautiful. I mean, this is on the cross of Eden, so the peace of mind, the, you know, it all just comes from stimulating other people. So you'll find yourself most likely in a lot of conversations this transit. We're going to be in this field of this hexagram till the 19th of December, so December 11th or December 14th to the 19th. So we're going to be pretty stimulated, most likely, in our mental field. You know, we might have some things from the past come up. We do not have gate 56 coming in as the harmonic. So we're not going to really necessarily know the audience, You know, although last week's channel, the channel of surrender, is in transit for a bit this week, so it is a possibility to find an audience during that period of time. But typically without gate 56, the gate of stimulation, the wanderer, we're not, you know, really sure if our ideas are going to build this impact. Maybe you'll just keep it to yourself and nobody asks you your opinion, or, you know, you might not spark these interests, but you're seeing the wider picture come together of why you wake up. You know, what do you want to bring? You know, what do you want to do? And eventually the archer, you know, the glyph of Saggitarius, it shoots the mark, and because of all these lessons and all these surrounding thoughts you've thought about in the past are starting to like conclude and come into this like sphere of wisdom, and you hit the mark at some point in time in your life where, you know, maybe you can succeed in an idea full throttle, and it'll be your own. So, but the real purpose is stimulating other people. So we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to potentially talk a lot about our beliefs and ignite other people or not. So don't be offended, you know, just let that kind of slip off your back, really, because there is no stress. And just be aware of where you're obsessive in your beliefs, because a lot of people aren't aware. I mean, I certainly grew up in the early 2000s, like with a lot of people driving, you know, their belief systems on me. So I've had a lot of experience of negative belief systems that turn to hate. So that's the thing that you want to assess. How obsessive is this getting? Are you actually like thinking of ill will for other people for no reason at all? And how can we change that? So questions of the week. What do you believe in that drives you onward through this quarter? How have your beliefs shifted from the past? How often do your ideas crystallize, and in what ways would they affect the collective? Do you have an idea you wish to fulfill? Do you feel better if it's entirely in your hands, or if you can be seen as a promoter and director and allow people to influence it further for you? And on the scale of 1 to 100, how stimulated do you feel? Is it too much? How can we slow the mind's activity to pick out the best pieces? So track the mood of your day-to-day. You know, maybe drink some like soothing tea if you get a little bit too heady. Or if you are having more PTSD this week, just be aware of that. There's more things going on that hold a bigger magnetism to why you may be feeling what you're feeling. So that is all for this transit. If you have any questions, please hit the chat box. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know about your ideas, your beliefs, what gets you up in the morning. Maybe it's just coffee. Who knows? But I want to hear about it. Thank you guys.